Everybody, welcome back to our episode of FSi DFS Fantasy Baseball Picks. I'm Mr. Megler 31. Hope you are having a great Monday, Eclipse Day. So if you're in an area where you can see that, be careful, wear your glasses. But we do have some baseball today. There's a turbo slate. There's like one random like 10 game, and then there's a couple at six, a 3 game slate. I'm not gonna cover that. I'm gonna cover the 9 game main slate, which is nice because we're kind of worried like with all these early games now this season, potentially slates could start at like 6:05 or 6:40. I like that little extra time to get the late lines in and everything. So we'll see how things go going forward. So only one weather concern today, and I hope you had a good weekend. If you watched Friday's video, I got the Cassis home run call correct. Yeah, um, that was made me some money because I uh, had a bet on that. So just I figured, hey, send the video, might as well see if it happens, and it did. So that was pretty cool. So let's get into today's slate. We got Coors Field, we've got some great hitting environments, we've got some decent pitching. So let's go game by game here. So first of all, let's get past those 6 o'clock games. And first game, Seattle and Toronto. We have Castillo and Barrios. I think both pitchers are in play here. Both teams have been underwhelming to start the season. And one thing that I've added, and I'll try to update it periodically too, is we're talking about pitching, looking at teams to target for strikeouts. So Seattle is up there as like the number two A rate in teams this season to start the season. So I think Barrios is at 71 is a great play here for a cheaper pitcher, an SP2. Maybe if you can find another one to pair in a GPP, it's like your SP1. Barrios definitely like Castillo, definitely like too. Toronto just hasn't been that potent offensively. They've shown sparks here and there. The team's relatively healthy, but it's just not, as powerful as it's been in years past. Now, traditionally, they've been like reverse splits hitters. You have a bunch of righties on this team, and but Biggio and Rocheo and Kiermaier if he's back from being scratched. So yeah, they could put a couple lefties in here, but it's primarily a right-handed hitting team. And they're usually reverse splits because they usually hit righties better than lefties. But Castillo has just been so dominant against righties that I think that he's set up to probably be the second best pitcher on the slate if you're paying up here. So 4 total on both sides. If you want to play the bats, it'd just be a leverage game there, but definitely like both pitchers. Moving over to next game, you have the Mets going to Atlanta. So you have Julio Teheran, who was a Brave for years, and then has been all over the place. Where did he pitch last? Arizona last year? I can't remember. He's just been bad. Um, uh, Gas can kind of. So I just definitely a no. Um, there, as you can see, he's on the last guy on the fade list because he's besides Freeland and Coors is probably the second worst pitcher on the slate. Morton, I don't know if I'll play 10K for him. He's a good one, but the Mets don't strike out, even though they're not on the bottom K here one, they're just a little bit over 20%. They've had some good plate discipline now. And I know I talked in the last video, they started out slow and Lindor kind of broke out of it and had a good day yesterday. But like McNeil and some of the guys are really struggling. They're outside of City Field. It's a better hitting environment. I'm not going to say that Morton is going to get lit up by them, but don't I don't know about paying like 10K. I think I'd rather play like 3 of the pitchers, and depending on the weather in the Dodgers game with Paxton, it's if the weather, he'd probably be my third favorite to pay up here. But at 10K, trying to get some bats in it might be kind of hard. So I think he's definitely in play here. Bat wise, I think the Mets are in play, but it's like a GPP stack. I can't put them as a value stack, even though like beyond the top three with Nemo, Lindor, and Alonso, who are like 4 or 5 and like the low 5Ks, everybody else is in like the 3K range. So potentially it might be a cheap stack. If you're looking for some fill-ins, if you don't trust Morton, I would probably stick more towards like the lefties. So Beatty, Nemo, Lindor there, and just leave the righties kind of on the shelf. On the Brave side, I think everybody's in play here. Tehran has been horrible. Um, just to go out there and just load up. Olson, probably one of my favorite plays on the slate outside of Coors Field. And albeit Acuna started out the season, has been kind of on of that lingering injury from spring training or not. Uh, Riley's been solid. Ozuna's been solid. I'd rather have him against the lefty. Harris has like some speed and power there. Clinic should correct the lineup. You might be able to do like a kind of a wraparound thing. So, definitely some plays there. Dodgers and the Twins. Looks like there's maybe a 50% chance of rain in this game, so just have to keep an eye on that one. James Paxton and Bailey Ober. Paxton has just been very good um, this season to start out. So, and the Twins have been the third highest strikeout rate. So definitely some Ks in the lineup. So I think Paxton, if the weather holds up, is definitely something to look at. 8,700 is a great price too there. Uh, if you're trying to get in Coors Field, you're trying to get in the Braves bats and the weather looks good, maybe Paxton Barrios would be a good pairing for SP1 and SP2. A lot of upside there. Bailey Ober on the other side. I don't know. I think you're kind of playing with fire there. Dodgers have had some more strikeouts in this lineup, like Muncy and Outman and Lux just haven't been completely, you know, on fire to start the season. But the top of the lineup is pretty potent and all around can be. So uh, I think you I don't think he's in play here. Maybe in the mid range if you're mass multi entering, maybe like 5% or so, just in case. Uh, but the wind looks like it is blowing out at like 9 miles per hour. It's going to be only like 49 degrees, so that might help a little bit. So I'm not trying to make an argument for Ober here. I'm just saying that he's almost in the fade category against the Dodgers, but I think he is playable in some cases. So we'll just say that. Dodger bats again. Let's see what the weather is. I put them down to the bottom as top ones, not only because of the weather, but just because like Minnesota has had the best bullpen, and those are some of the things that we need to take into consideration. Because if Ober's out there and he gets beat up, and maybe only makes it 3 or 4 innings, you've got 5 innings of guys that could go out there and shut this Dodgers team down. So I don't think they're as good of a stack as they normally would be on the road. It does give you the top of the ninth, so it does give you 9 innings of at bats for them. So I do like that factor of them. So Dodgers definitely in play, but not one of my favorite stacks. Minnesota, I think again would just be a leverage stack here. Righties against Paxton as best as you can, and we'll see what happens. But I mean, the bottom of this lineup, I'm really not excited about. I don't know if I can do a full five man stack, like maybe Buxton, Jefferson, Correa, and Santana, maybe Farmer to round it off. But I mean, my God's got some speed upside there, but like Austin Martin, Vasquez. I mean, he was good when he was with Boston. Maybe has a little bit left in the tank. Castro, like just nobody really excites me, and that's if they take all the lefties out of the lineup. And that's another risk too. Is once Paxton goes out, are they going to throw in some of the left-handed bats? And are you going to lose some at bats from like Farmer and some of these other platoon players in there? So Philadelphia and St. Louis at St. Louis, 70 degrees there. So nice day for baseball. A wind blowing out at like 8 miles per hour a little bit. So a decent hitting environment. You have Spencer Turnbull and Miles Mikolas. Turnbull, I think, is definitely in play here as my second favorite cheap one. Not that he's a great pitcher, but he has added a little bit to his arsenal. It looks like his velocity is up from if I was reading those stream training reports. A little bit, and St. Louis has just been struggling. 2, 4, 6. They're seventh in strikeout um, rate there. So there are some Ks in this lineup, and some of the big bats just haven't come alive. And the bigger bats you have in Contreras, Arenado, and Goldsmith are all righties against a righty, and Turnbull's been decent against righties. So definitely play there. Miles Mikolas, I mean, he's at times been for splits. He's at times been like a pitch to contact guy. And now he's at 5'3". I just don't think you can really trust him. I have him as the lowest of the lows if you just want to take a really YOLO stance there. I think there's like five worse pitchers than him on the slate, but it could be pretty scary. On the Philly side of it, I think they're definitely a play in a GPP here. I just like the other totals are just so much higher, and they're against worse pitchers out there. So, but I think Philly could definitely be a very sneaky stack, and I definitely have them. And I think you can play everyone because, like I said, Mikolas has been reverse splits. Schwarber, if he gets his he's like home run or strikeout there, kind of like a Joey Gallo 2.0. But Turner, Hyper, Real Muto, Bombs, Stott, Marsh has been doing well in the bottom lineups. If you want to do like a wraparound one there, kind of save you some money on the stack. Even if you want to go eat 1, 2, 3, 4, I mean that works for you. If Real Muto is too much to pay up for a catcher, just go bomb, or do Stott, and then you kind of like skip a couple spots in there, and because lefty on either side of the stack, so you're kind of covering almost the whole lineup there. I don't like doing that, but my stack, I try not to leave like more than two spaces between everybody, and that would still work out for you. If you want like 6, 8, 1, 2, 3. So some options for you there. Cardinal size, I think they're cheap and everything. And if you don't trust Turnbull, that's fine. I would just stick to lefties like Donovan, Gorman, Burleson, maybe a three-man stack there. Victor Scott, there's somebody that's almost ready to come back, so he's probably going to get sent down to the minors. Like, yes, he's got blazing speed if he can get on, but his K, he's like Billy. Was it Billy Hamilton for Kansas City? Some other teams that had just blazing speed, and you'd be so excited if he could actually get a walk and get on base. But like 8 out of 9 times, he'd probably strike out before that happened. So I think that's the case. But send him down. Just like the same thing with Ruiz from the A's, like another one gets on, but like how little league home run if he actually hits the ball. I think he has like 3 career home runs. I think only one of them actually went out of the park, and it was win aided. The other two were like inside the park ones where he just ran faster and they could get the ball to home plate. So you know those things happen, and maybe these guys just need to sit down and to the minors leagues and just work on their like swings and mechanics, and maybe be able to come back up later on for some big league action and make more of an impact then. So next game, Houston and Texas. Finishing off this one, Valdez and Heaney. Valdez is definitely in play, even though Houston's a potent or Texas is a potent lineup. Have some injuries there, so they're not as strong. Like Jung's out of the lineup, and that puts a little bit of a hole there. So we'll see what happens. And Heaney, I like him, but not in this case. I think Houston is definitely in play against them, so Heaney's a fade for me. Houston, third favorite one. If you want to fade like Atlanta with their prices there and Coors Field, then I think this is definitely. I know that they have a cold start to out of the gate here and haven't been great, but I think there's a good chance to put it together here. Let's go with Bregman. Diaz's catcher at 4.2 isn't bad. I mean, his price got up there. He was in the 3K to start the season. Even Chas McCormick's interesting there. Pena Myers do a wraparound. Um, Alvarez and Tucker, even though they're lefties, can hit lefties pretty well. So I think most of the rosters in play there. Texas on the other side too. Great GPP here. Simeon, Seager even low, lefty and lefty again. If you want to pay up for him, can professional hitter, can hit left-handed pitching as well as right-handed. Langford, he start out really hot to start the season. A good spring training. Garcia, I've always liked Duran too. Probably leave Carter on the shelf, lefty and lefty. Forsku came up. He's 2K at second base, taking Young's spot on the roster. Minimum price person there to consider. So, it's pretty much that game. I don't think it'll have a lot of ownership, but I think there's some potential there with a 9 total. Okay, Coors Field, Diamondbacks in Colorado. I know a lot of people like fading the team that goes to Coors for the first game sometimes, and it's 55 degrees, so it's not like freezing cold like it was the other night, and winds blowing in like 8 miles per hour. It's not too bad. It's still a bit ballpark. So, some of the singles turn to doubles, doubles turn to triples, things like that. and you got a really bad lefty here and a lot of right-handed power. So I absolutely love the Diamondbacks. First best play or team to stack on the slate here. Marte, probably skip Carroll, lefty and lefty. We'll see if he bats second. They've been batting Blaze Alexander up there sometimes against the lefty and even giving Carroll the day off. So, uh, that's something to consider. Gurriel has been hot to start the season. Christian Walker, smash play there. Suarez hasn't been that great since coming from Seattle, like hit or miss, but a good chance to get um, right. Grichuk is a great hitter against lefties. Actually played for the Rockies, I believe, for a while. So, accustomed to this field. 4-2, Moreno, 4-2 if you're okay playing up for a catcher. Probably skip Newman. Perdomo tore his meniscus, I think, so he'll be out. So between Newman and Amand playing, or is Amand even there anymore? But anyways, be some other people filling in for in the lineup with that injury there. But love the Diamondbacks, almost any single one of them. Again, I don't know if I'll pay 5-7 Carroll against a lefty, but the Colorado bullpen is the second worst in Major League Baseball. So I'm sure they've got some righties in there that are going to come out that Carroll could definitely crush. So again, if you're skeptical and you don't want it, but I think this is a great matchup for them, and Arizona should be able to go in there and actually do some damage. I like Gallen on the other side too. As a pitcher, I know the Rockies are much better at home, and they had put up some runs in their last series against Tampa Bay. But I just think that he can probably go in there and shut some of these bats down. So I think he's definitely playing the medium range. Is probably one of my favorite plays there. Freeland and I'm touching the Rockies. Blackman, I was so down on him last year, but he's actually hitting like well over 300 this year, and it's been solid. So it doesn't have as much power, but it's more speed and contact, which I'm fine with because he's scoring points for us in DFS. So I'll take it. I don't need the power anymore. If he can get on base and steal some bases, and some of these other guys can hit him home with a home run, that's fine with me. Um, McMay and Jones. I'd probably stick to the lefties if I'm building. Bryant's injured. I don't know. He's day to day. I don't know if he'll be in the lineup. We'll have to keep an eye on that. So probably mini stack Colorado and a GPP. I don't know if I go full five there, but definitely love Arizona always. Tampa Bay and the Angels, Eflin and Tyler Anderson. Eflin, favorite pitcher on the slate. The Angels, even though they did put up some runs against Boston, they have struggled to start the season. Rendon, like I said, his batting average, like so many guys are below 100. I know Chanel, who bats second, has had a long streak of getting on base, but there's like walks and like singles. There's not like anything special there. Strikeouts. Um, they're definitely in the top 10 for K rate, so they're over almost 25% K rate there. Drury struggled to start the season. Ward and Trout are the only two that have really done anything, and I hope he had a grand slam the other night. So, but they're righties against a righty here. I really like Eflin. I really think that he's solid at 9K. Like the price, love the matchup. Um, 68 degrees. So it's not like a freezing cold night there, wind blowing at 11 miles per hour. I think he's going to have a very solid outing. Tyler Anderson on the other side, not interested in. Tampa Bay's almost got a 5 for a total of 4.82. I think they can definitely put up some runs against them. And the Angels bullpen is the fourth worst out there too. So that's something to look at. Also, we give up some runs against them. So I mean, they're using is it Suarez in relief? I remember he was a starting pitcher last year and he went out against the A's and there was like, oh, he's going to dominate them. And like the A's put up like 10 runs in the first inning against him. He's a lefty. So I saw him the other night against Boston. I was just like, oh, look at my chops. I'm like, oh, this is so good. See him out there. I had Boston stacked. They're going to put up some runs. So, and they did a little bit there. So yeah, Angels bullpen not great. So yeah, give me Tampa Bay is another stack there. Probably going to throw an all right-handed lineup out there. He is Ramirez is cheap at 3.6. Arena a little bit up there. Paredes is definitely a great player at 4.2, kind of underrated. Mon Rosario, former Guardian, coming out from Cleveland. And was he on the Braves? Can't remember which Rosario that was. Anyways, it's still a good player at 3-4 there. Curtis Mead, got getting some playing time now this year at 3K. Caballero at shortstop at 2.8 was great in spring training, and then Siri at 3.7 has definitely some speed and contact and steal some paces. So definitely like this team here for fill-ins or for a primary stack. The Angels would just be a leverage one against my favorite pitcher. So, if you wanted to, but I just really don't like the matchups there. So probably not gonna have a ton. Cubs and Padres, Assad and you Darvish. Assad's been solid, and the Padres really haven't. I know they're fourth to the bottom in K percentage, so there's not a lot of strikeouts, but I think that if he goes out there at 7-4, he's somebody you can consider in the cheap range. I like Barrios and Turnbull much better, but somebody in GPP that could potentially be there. 60 degrees wind blowing in. It's definitely a pitcher's park. And San Diego really hasn't been, super solid to start the season with offensively. They're not a juggernaut. So, you Darvish on the other side, I think he's definitely in play in the mid range. 8-4 is not bad, but the Cubs have really, and again, it was more like at home, and some of it was win aided, but the Cubs have been hitting to start the season really well. So, and you definitely have some lefties out there to look at. So, I think there'll be a leverage stack because I think a lot of people will play Darvish, and I think if Hap is switch hitter there. Suzuki, he's been hot to start season, righty and righty. I don't know how that, but Bellinger's there. If you want to do like a mini stack of Cubs, that works. San Diego, not interested in a ton. I mean, if you don't think Assad's a good pitcher, I get it. Um, if I think it'll definitely be low ownership if you want to fade the other late games here and make San Diego your late night hammer. It's definitely different. It's definitely low own stack. So in a GPP, it might work out for you. And final game we have is Washington and San Francisco. So Trevor Williams and Blake Snell. Washington has the lowest total on the slate, which I don't. Snell is like the most expensive pitcher, and I get it if he went through spring training and had like a normal start, but I don't think he's going to like 80 pitches. If you think that's enough against Washington, then that's that's okay. But they're somewhere in the middle, in almost they're just above 20% in K rate, so it's not like they're a high strikeout team. And if Abrams is back in the lineup too, I mean, he was like kind of bang. He had a knee contusion, I think, from like fielding the ball. It'd be lefty on lefty anyways. But so, and with some of the injuries, like they had to call up like Jacob Young, and of course Joey Galle's there, lefty and lefty. So I mean, there's strikeouts there. So there's some potential for Snell to do good. I just like the other four pitchers much better. Maybe I'll have some exposure to him just in case he goes out there and throws a masterful game in the short time that he's out there in 4 to 5 innings on Fanduel. I don't even know if he's going to qualify for the quality start. I don't know if he's going to go long enough. So take that in consideration. And I'm not touching Trevor Williams. So uh, for San Francisco, I think you can definitely stack them here. I mean, Wade's always a pinch hit risk, but Lee has been out there most of the game. Soler, righty on fire. Conforto has been on fire to start the season. Chapman's been solid also. So I think San Francisco makes great cheap stack or fill-ins. And the Washington, I mean, I would take maybe some of them against Snell, probably more the righties like Lane Thomas and maybe Meneses. But I don't think that I think Snow will be fine, but who knows? I mean, that might be a YOLO cheap stack for you or people fill in. So let's get to the build to get you on your way for your Monday. Let's slide that over there. So as I said, I'm taking Eflin as my number one pitcher, and Barrios is my SP2. I'm going to stack um, Arizona, and Walker, Martes, Alexander. And then I said Tampa Bay is cheap. So Paredes and H. Ramirez. And then you decide if you're going to play for Moreno, that's fine. Then you're probably going to have to go Grichuk over Gurriel, as you won't have enough. But if you want to go with Gurriel there, then find a cheap catcher and find whatever outfielder fits to round out. There's other cheap guys on Tampa Bay too, so you could go like even Pinto maybe. So go like 4-4 there. And then for GPP, give me Gallon against Colorado. I think he's going to go out there in game one and do really well. If you don't trust him, there's a lot of other options like Darvish or Morton Castillo, Paxton if the weather's fine. All those are fine options there. To put with Assad, if you don't like Assad, Turnbow's another cheap one to consider there. So in GPPs, but to give me the Braves, Olson, Elbies, and San Francisco going to pair with Chapman, Lee, and Conforto. So leaves you your discretion, like what other Braves that you want to throw in there um, to fill in the rest of it. So if you want to go all the way to Acuna, or if you want to go down to Clinic, or go in somewhere in between and throw like Azuna in there as the other outfielder. Decide if you want RC as shortstop. If not, Chapman's negotiable too. Can definitely be Riley. If you can find some other value plays to make the rest of the lineup work, I'm fine with that. And like I said, you can play around the pitchers if you don't want to go up a Galen. Darvish, Paxton definitely in play. And if you don't trust Assad, then Turnbull, Barrios, either one of those could be your SP2. So that's what I got for you. Have any questions, put them in the chat below. Hit me up at MegaRow31 on X/Twitter. If you want more information on FSi DFS, you can go to the description of the video and it'll get you the link to our pricing page. You can see all that we have. VIP package for a day is like $6, and for like most of our weekly packages for all sports are only like $15. So we're very reasonable in our pricing. And if these videos help you, help us back. Like the video, subscribe to our channel, and share with friends. So thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow for next video. Again, be careful with the eclipse today. Good luck in your contest tonight, and I'll see you next time.